Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. We have another really cool Recur review to do today. This is another of their more recent figures that I was really interested in. I believe this line was actually from the 2019 line, and it's one of the other newer figures that I really wanted to take a look at and kind of include in my collection because it's clearly a feathered Tyrannosaurus Rex, and although we don't really believe that Tyrannosaurs were quite as feathered as you see here anymore, it's kind of now back to the scaly edition of Tyrannosaurus. I always do like a really nice feathered Rex, and I think that this one looks pretty darn good, honestly. It actually looked really good in the promotional images, and now having it here in person, I think it actually looks even better in person than it did in the promotional images. A really cool, very large and bulky feathered Tyrannosaurus Rex as far as the appearance of it, and I think it's definitely one of Recur's better figures that I've seen so far, so let's go ahead and get a closer look at it right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt, you can see the head sculpt has a really nice appearance to it as far as having a nice dark wash that brings all the detail out. And you can see that as far as the actual minute detailing goes, it's really beautifully done. It has a very nice skin texture to the face, but at the same time you can kind of see like some very soft feathering coming through here in certain areas on the face, and it actually looks really cool the way they've done this. And on top of that, you can see that it's primarily like this whitish type of a color, maybe like an off-white for the coloration of the face, and I think the combination of that off-white with the dark wash makes the entire skin area and face area look extremely cool. You also have kind of a very nice brown stripe that comes back, borders around the eye, and then stripes through, as well as a brown stripe down here. And I think that as well looks really cool, gives it a little bit of flashiness to the face. And on top of all that, we actually have this little area right here that's painted with a reddish coloration, which again helps to give it a bit of flashiness up here on the face. You can see the nostrils are sculpted out really quite nicely up here and elaborated with a darker coloration. The eyes are painted with an orangish type of a color, given a very nice black pupil. They do look quite cool, and I love the kind of darker coloration around the orange, so it really elaborates that orange and makes it kind of jump out at you, and really helps to make the eye look brighter, I would say. If you look down here in the inside of the mouth, you have really nice detailing here on that skin flap, a beautiful coloration for the inside of the mouth, as well as actually really nicely painted teeth. You can see each tooth is sculpted individually and really beautifully painted. There doesn't appear to be any sloppiness at all when it comes to the painting of the teeth on this Recur Tyrannosaurus Rex. And it overall looks really nice. You can see the same deal on this side as far as the way that the head is painted, with kind of that brown stripe, the orange eye, and then a brown stripe down here on the lower jaw. Looking at the lower jaw, again, you can see that really nice skin texture that's brought out wonderfully with that dark wash, as well as that kind of light feathering that I talked about on the other side. You can also see, actually, while I'm right here, you can see that inside of the mouth shining and glistening quite nicely, as there is a gloss coat in there to add that extra bit of realism to your figure. Then up here on the top of the head, you can see a little bit more of a thicker style of feathers start to appear, and you can actually look, if you get nice and close and look at the feathers, the feather detail is all really nicely done as far as the sculpting of it goes, and you can see it transitions from this whitish coloration, this off-white, to a nice brown. And then once you actually get into the head, you can see there's variations of brown right here. You have like a little bit of a lighter brown and then a really dark brown here that kind of runs along the edge, and that continues all over the body. You have like that transition back and forth between a little bit of a lighter brown and a darker brown. And I think it looks really nice the way they've done that. Helps to give it some color variation and make it look quite realistic. If you come down here into the neck, you can actually see some of the skin detail once again of the neck, kind of like some skin folding and stuff going on, but you can also see like the skin stretching as the Rex has its head in an upward fashion and a little bit to the right, so it would be beautifully stretching that skin right there, and I think Recur has shown that quite nicely in the sculpt of their dinosaur. Even a little bit of hanging skin here in the throat region, as well as some more really nice skin detail as we lead into the chest. Once we come back here, you can make out the shoulder blade there protruding from even the feathers a little bit. You come down here into those Rex arms. They look quite nicely done. Very nice skin texture to them. Beautiful scoots down the fingers, as well as some very nicely painted nails there. Definitely a really nice appearance as far as that goes. You have some more really nice skin detail here in the stomach region. Also the skin stretching off of the body with this leg pulling back. But up here on the back, you can again see how beautiful those feathers look. They look just almost like emu feathers, like real fluffy feathering, and I think it looks absolutely gorgeous as far as both the sculpt and paint goes. I think the only thing that could have potentially made it look a little better would have been like a nice light coloration if they would have dry brushed it over to really bring all the detail of the feathers out, but honestly I still think it looks great the way they've done it. Once you get back here, you can make out the hip bone a little bit right there. You can also kind of make out the spinal column running down the back of the dinosaur, but you can even make out some of the muscle tone there in the thigh, even with the feathers included there if you turn it at the right angle. So that's very nicely done. Moving down here into the leg, again the skin picks back up as opposed to the feathers. You can see a very nice calf muscle right there and a beautiful skin texture as we move down into the foot of our Rex. Very, very nicely done foot sculpt with some beautifully painted black nails, and you can see over here the dew claw is present. We can see that over here if we flip it around. There it is. There is the dew claw. And then moving back up here into the tail, again some more really nice skin texture and kind of the way it would be reacting to that movement in that position with the leg. And then some more of the really nice feather detail, and it kind of runs right here. It's like 50-50, where the underside is a skin textured look, and then the upper side is feathers. And you can again see a few different combinations of browns included as we run out the length of the tail, as well as some more really nice skin texture here on the underside that looks really beautiful, again brought out quite nicely with a dark wash. And then we get out here to the tip of the tail, and you can see a very nice appearance as far as like those tail feathers go. Almost a little bit of a fluffy type of a look out here on the tail, but not too much. And then if we flip it around and take a look at the opposing side, we've already looked at the head, but you can see again some more of the skin detail here in the throat. You can see as the Rex has its head turned to the right, it has bunched that skin up quite nicely right there in the throat. Again, really nice attention to detail in the way that the skin would be reacting to that particular movement in the body. You can also see as we lead down here into the arm, once again the arm looks really good. They are in a very nice position, kind of close to the body. You can also see the elbow there. Now moving back into the body, you don't see quite as much of the midsection on this side because the Rex has its leg actually pushed forward really far. You can, however, just like the previous side, make out the hip bone a little bit there, as well as some muscle tone, even showing within those feathers. And then again down here into the foot and leg, you can see very nicely defined calf muscle. Beautiful skin texture as we move down the leg into that really nice looking Rex foot sculpt. Beautiful scoots down the toes as well. And then over here you can again see kind of the skin stretching as that leg is pulling it forward and stretching that skin off of the tail. Very, very nice looking feathers again up here on the back with those numerous shades of brown included that look absolutely awesome as far as the paintwork goes. And then we move out the length of the tail, and it looks pretty much just like we had seen on the previous side with that very nice mixture of skin texture and feathers and all kinds of really nice paintwork the entire way out. The entire underside of the Rex as well looks really, really nice as far as the sculpt work goes. So I really feel like this is a beautiful rendition of a feathered Tyrannosaurus Rex, and a severely underrated one as well. As far as the size goes on our feathered Rex, from the tail to the head, you are looking at about the 13-inch range. If we go to the lower jaw, actually close to about 13.25 inches, or around 34 centimeters, actually more like 33.5 centimeters. And for a height, the highest point here would be the head, about 5 inches or about 12.5, maybe close to 13 centimeters. And then, whoops, we knocked it over. And then for the tail, the highest point would be the tip of the tail. And you are now looking at about 6.5 inches or about 16.5, close to 17 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line, next to our really, really nice looking feathered Recur Tyrannosaurus Rex. And you can see next to these figures here that, as per usual, when it comes to a Recur figure, this one does sport some pretty darn significant size, and I think that is really quite visible here, especially look at that tail length. That tail is quite long, and in comparison to these other three, especially the Papo Rex, who is a decently sized figure, you definitely should be able to tell that this Recur version is really nicely sized. So this 2019 Recur Tyrannosaurus Rex, a feathered Tyrannosaurus Rex, which I believe is the first feathered T-Rex that they've had in their line. I actually had reviewed one Rex in the past, but it was not a feathered version, so we now have this newer version released by them last year, and it's a beautiful feathered look to it, and I really think that it is a really nice looking figure overall. As far as the actual appearance to it goes, I think it's really striking, again, due to it having feathers and there being so few feathered T-Rex figures out there. I think that aspect alone is striking enough to really draw people into it, and I feel like it's just one of those figures that maybe not that many people know of it, because it's not near as popular as it should be as far as when I see people sharing images of their dinosaurs. I just don't see too many people sharing images of the Recur Rex or even Recur in general, and I think it's kind of a shame because they do produce some really beautiful dinosaur figures, and I really feel like this T-Rex is a great example of that. And with having such a huge fan base as far as the feathered Rex goes, you would think more people would be sharing images of this and picking it up, but it's just not something that happens. So hopefully, if maybe you guys are all unaware of this figure or something, hopefully this review will help to kind of persuade you to pick one up, because I really do suggest doing that, as it is a beautiful Rex. Again, you can see a really nice skin textured appearance to the face, and I think that the coloration they've given it up there on the face with that lighter color plays off of that darker brown so well, and almost gives it a little bit of a creepy vibe with the kind of really pale complexion to the face. I think that was a very nice choice as far as the coloration of the Rex goes, and they've done a great job of including a really nice dark wash to bring that detail out, but it's not an overly powerful dark wash. It's pretty much perfect as far as what you would expect to see on a dinosaur like this, with the kind of cracks and crevices of the skin showing, and I think they kind of portrayed that perfectly by including that dark wash. And I really do like the addition of kind of like that brown stripe through the eye and then on the lower jaw. I think that was a really nice touch, just that little bit of extra color to the skin area of the face. But you can also see some very nice light feathering in the face as well, and that does tend to lead back into the very feathered area of the back of the head and the rest of the body up there on the upper side. And I think those feathers are sculpted in fantastic fashion, really nice looking, very minute details to each of the feathers, and I think Recur has done a great job of portraying feathers on this Rex, and also the browns that they've used look great in comparison, like I had stated, to the lighter coloration of the actual skin. It all plays off of each other so well, and they've done a great job of including numerous variations of browns within the feathers, so that also helps to add to the overall realism of the figure. Again, the minute detailing as far as like the skin moving and stretching and bunching up and everything is perfectly shown in this Rex. And the minute detailing in general as far as like scaling and skin texture appearance is really nicely shown, as well as the beautiful feathering and the detail of that. So I think both the sculpt and the paint department of this figure is just absolutely beautiful, if you ask me. It definitely balances really nicely as well. Again, there is always some concern when it comes to dinosaur figures that don't include bases or anything, especially bipedal animals like this, as to whether or not they'll balance good or not without like a base included. And you could definitely see that this one balances beautifully. There are no issues at all when it comes to its standing, which is really nice to see, because more often than not, a lot of the Rex figures that we get, unless it has a tail on the ground positioning, don't balance that well, but this one certainly does. So again, a really, really nice looking Tyrannosaurus Rex figure. Definitely something that I recommend anybody interested in that feathered Rex type of a look, go ahead and pick this guy up, because it really is quite nice. So I will include a link in the description to Amazon where I picked up mine. Make sure you head on over there, buy yourself this really nice feathered Tyrannosaurus Rex from Recur, and make sure you also like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.